Hello everyone, what's up? I'm doing a weird thing today. I am going to be talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer seasons 1 and 2 today. And just so we're clear, just because I don't know who's going to be watching this, I have been reacting to Buffy as a show for, I don't know how long, several months now. At a rate of an episode a week, and I just finished season 2. So I'm going to be talking about what I just watched, which means that I have no knowledge of what happens after season 2. So keep it clean in the comments. I usually say this, but I don't know if this video is going to reach anyone that's beyond the usual audience. So just letting you know, just in case. All right, hello. So this video is a video that I just wanted to do as a, I don't know what to call it, like a checkpoint of sorts. Before I start season 3. And it's funny I say that because I watched the first episode of season 3 already at the time of recording this, so I have knowledge of one extra episode. But okay, so this video is gonna encompass the first 2 seasons of Buffy. We're gonna be talking about it for a little bit, and maybe I'll mention the movie, and maybe I'll mention the first episode of season 3, which is all the stuff that I watched that is Buffy related. Alright, so I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't have a very clear way I'm gonna be doing this. I didn't plan anything, I'm just winging this shit. I did ask people several days ago to leave me some questions so I can talk about things, and I will be bringing those questions up and replying to them. But before that, I feel like I should give you my general feelings on season 1 and 2, because I've seen people being like, I can't fully gauge how you feel about the show so far. So this video is meant to kind of address that, to make it more clear. So let's start with season 1. Oh boy, season 1 is rough. And and what's interesting about that is that, yes, everyone who I've spoken to about Buffy has told me, people in the comments and everyone, it's just like, yes, season 1 is the roughest, and if you make it past that, then it's probably gonna be smooth sailing afterwards. But when I first started season 1, I didn't know that. I literally didn't know anything about Buffy when I started the show, because the way I started reacting to Buffy is because I just threw the show title on a Patreon poll alongside other shows, and I was just like, yeah, I've heard Buffy, someone mentioned it to me, yeah, I'll throw it in the poll, why not? I think there are some people that might be interested in it, and it just won immediately, and I was like, whoa, okay. So I was like, okay, I guess people like Buffy, so I was like, okay, sure. So I started watching it, and I knew this show was a 90s show, but beyond that, that was kind of it. And I learned who it was made by, right before the poll ended, but not when I started it. I was like, oh, it's a show by this guy, you know, the one that should not be named. So I was like, oh shit, okay, so I need to address a couple things before I start. But at the end of the day, I'm like, a show is made by many people, by many people's hard work, and I don't necessarily I don't want to dismiss people's feelings on a show, just because some dude who made the show or had a lot of input into it is a bad person. I'm like, okay, I still want to get the show and get why people like it so much and why some fans are passionate about it. So I'm like, okay, I'll go in with an open mind and be like, okay, let's see what's up. And you start episode 1 and it's like, oh boy, I'm watching Power Rangers. And the thing is that all of season 1 is Power Rangers, a little bit. It's Power Rangers with a greater emphasis on drama and not so much on the fights. The way the Villain of the Week thing works is also pretty similar. And I say Power Rangers just because that's my point of comparison. I grew up watching Power Rangers, so that's kind of what I would compare it to. And when I say Power Rangers, I don't necessarily mean it as necessarily a negative, because I enjoy Power Rangers. I still do. Twitch did a marathon of all Power Rangers seasons one time, and I was in there watching it. I was like, hell yeah, this slaps. So that was my immediate connection that I made from Buffy season 1, at least the first couple episodes, to something else that I could compare it to that reminded me of. Now, the thing about Buffy season 1, and I have a list of episodes right here. I mean, it's just, I'm literally just looking at my playlist on YouTube, but doing this, I'll remind myself of what episodes come in. So we got episode 1 and 2, which is a two-parter, which is Welcome to the Hellmouth and The Harvest, which are the episodes where we get introduced to who Buffy is, who Xander and Willow are, who Giles is, the concepts of vampires and the Hellmouth, and then we had Luke and Darla, and then we like fight them or whatever. Yeah, Buffy beats Luke, I think, by doing a trick where she's like, hey, the sun, and he's like, ah, and then she just like stabs him or whatever, and she's like, the sun doesn't go up for like another 6 hours, you idiot. Which is, it's funny, it's a fun solution, it's very JoJo, I like it. But the thing is that like those first 2 episodes to me are very much episodes that I don't much care for. And I'm sorry to say that if you really like those episodes, but I didn't. The episode that actually did it for me is episode 3, the witch episode. Which is interesting because I feel like, I don't know, maybe not a lot of people care about the witch episode. I don't know. I don't know how people feel about the witch episode. But that's the episode that for me like made me go like, oh, hell yeah. This show can be really fun. Because I feel like the witch episode was fun. It had some interesting concepts like the body swap, and it introduced a character in Amy, which is a character that we revisited later on another episode that I don't feel too strongly towards, but I enjoy the idea of establishing characters that are just in this town, in the school, and then we can see again. And I'm hoping we'll get to see Amy again. I'm expecting it. We have like an extra 100 episodes to go, so I'm hoping we'll get to see Amy again. But like that's something I really like about the witch episode. Just establishing that there's something more than just vampires. There's witches. There's this like old lady who's just like really obsessed with being a cheerleader and at her peak again. So she takes the body of her daughter, and the daughter is in the body of the mother, and she's trapped inside her house and she can't leave her and shit. And then we defeat the mother and we put her soul inside of like a trophy or some shit. And then Amy's just around and she's like, yeah, I'm a member of the city now that we can revisit at some point. You know, establishing a community. Very JoJo Part 4. I like everything about what I just said. It's wonderful. So I really like episode 3 because it's just fun. It's just fun. Episodes 1 and 2 do a good job at establishing characters and setting. But beyond that, I don't really feel like I care much about it. I mean, also like, okay, something else that is interesting about Buffy that I feel like I need to like bring up is that the way characters speak is very particular because it's a Whedon special. Like this is a thing that will become like a mark, like a defining feature of this dude's writing moving forward, even into like the MCU, you know, and like that also influenced like the way a lot of people write and make characters and speak in a way. So what happens as a result, and like, is that I watched, I don't know, Avengers 2012. I watched that movie and I enjoyed that movie actually. I watched Age of Ultron too, but that one kind of sucks. But the first Avengers movie, like, I actually really liked that movie. And the thing is that like me being someone from 2022, and this is my first experience with Buffy, it means that like the way characters speak, the way this is written, like I can imagine that if you were watching this as it was coming out or like around that time, you would be like, oh damn, like this is really snappy, this is really quirky, this is really fun. I can imagine that that was something that really like made the show for you. But me being me at this time, it means that like I watched this and I'm like, yeah, okay, like, yeah, I'm used to this, you know? Because this is just common now. Like this, because I understand that Buffy was so influential and this type of character writing was so influential that like the way people speak to me in the show doesn't really do anything for me. It's not necessarily something that's like super unique to see, but I understand that it was at one point. But for me, because I'm watching it when I am watching it, it's not anymore. So I think that's like an extra layer where I am not going to feel exactly the same way people that watched this originally felt. Because I'm just like, I already seen this type of character dialogue. And I'm just like, you know? Like, I'm not impressed by it. I'm not amazed by it. I don't consider it, like, particularly, like, better or unique or anything. It's just, like, another type of character writer. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm just rolling with it. I'm just accepting it. I have no opinion on it. Sometimes there are some really funny lines, and I will point them out. But for the most part, I'm just like, yeah, this is Buffy speak, like, whatever. Yeah, so that's the thing about Buffy, is that it did a lot of things that were very unique and defining of, like, maybe a genre or something, but or media in general, you can say. Like, I know how influential Buffy is, but I cannot give you the specifics because I am not a media historian. But just because of the way I experience media, which is passively consuming what's of the era in a way, and now I'm revisiting an old show, it means that I am not necessarily faced by a lot of what it's doing, because I don't have the context that people would have had back in the day. I can understand it, sure, but it doesn't have the same emotional pull that it would have for someone else. I'm looking at this list of episodes, and so again, the first 2 episodes set up stuff. The witch episode was really fun. I really liked it. But then we start getting some of the weird episodes, right? And the episode 4 is the episode where Xander falls in love with his teacher, who is also a bug lady. Then we get episode 5 where Buffy has a crush on some dude, and then the dude is like, hell yeah, you kill, like, monsters and shit. And then she's like, maybe it's not good for him. There's, like, a talk about responsibility with Giles at the end of the episode, which was really good. And this was the only time that theme was ever good, because we revisited the responsibility theme like 3 times, and every time it sounds like they forgot about the previous time. So it's like, okay, I don't know what the fuck we're doing here. Suit Trip turns children into cannibals. The episode where Xander became a hyena, as well as other dudes became hyenas as well, and they ate a literal person, which was Principal Flutie. God rest his soul. He was the best character in the show. Okay, we got the Angel episode. I like that one. That's good. The episode with the robot. The episode with the puppet. The episode with the kid having a nightmare and all of reality falls apart. The episode where we realize Cordelia is really good with the invisible chick that became a CIA assassin. And then we get Prophecy Girl. So that's season 1. And okay, let me count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 or 5, depending on how you want to count the Cordelia episode. Those are the amount of episodes where you can say that something important happened, which is the first 2 episodes, Welcome to the Hellmouth on the Harvest, the Angel episode, episode 7, Out of Mind, Out of Sight, if you want to count Cordelia or not, because she becomes a real character, and this episode is crucial to that, and the finale, Prophecy Girl. So it's like either 4 or 5 out of 12. That means that the majority of season 1 is just, I hate using this word, but it's filler, right? And it's not so much filler, but it feels like filler. And what I mean by filler is that we have this thing that is very common in, like, the anime community, or at least it was very common in, like, the 2000s, like a mid to late 2000s, which is when an episode comes out and they don't have material to adapt to the animation and they just have to make some shit up, that's known as filler. Filler is something that doesn't move the story at all, and it doesn't introduce anything that does anything important for the characters at all. Everything starts and ends exactly in the same place. You can skip that episode and it would not make a difference. That's filler. Buffy, the witch episode is filler. Okay, the witch episode is only as filler as it would be to how important Amy could be in the future. Amy shows up again, which you can argue then makes the witch episode not be filler. But the second episode with Amy in it, Bewitched, Bother, and Bewildered, is also filler. Therefore, Amy so far is a filler-only character. So yes, which episode is still filler? The teacher's pet episode is filler. Never kill a boy on the first date. You can argue that one is not filler because Buffy learns a lesson about responsibility. Okay, we're gonna do this thing. This episode is not filler. Never kill a boy on the first date. That's a good episode. There's character progression. However, every other time we revisit that exact theme, that episode becomes filler, okay? That's the rule we're gonna set. This one is okay, though. So that means we're at 6. Okay, the pack... I mean, I guess Principal Flutie... You can argue Principal Flutie dying is a major character death, but I don't think it is, because he never did anything. Like, we had like 4 or 5 scenes with him. Like, he didn't matter, so no. Also, I like to pretend that episode didn't happen. Angel, that's a really good episode. I like that one. That's an important one. The robot episode. I mean, that was a fun episode. It was a wacky episode. It was poorly aged, but it was filler. The puppet episode is filler until the spirit of the puppet shows up again. And it's an important thing. And I hope that happens, but it hasn't happened yet, so it's filler. The Nightmares episode is really cool, and it has a couple of like really interesting things, but realistically, everything ends in the exact same place where it started, so no, it's filler. Out of Mind, Out of Sight. Okay, just because I really like Cordelia, this episode is good. And Prophecy Girl, that's plot. Okay, half the season is filler. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because okay, people don't really get this in the way that I'm doing things, and I feel like it's difficult for people to realize this and to feel the exact, and to try feel the way I feel, and it's difficult for me to explain it as well. But what you need to understand is that I am watching these episodes at a rate of 1 episode a week, and if you give me a show where half of the show is filler, and there's like nothing in it, and some episodes are just straight up awkward, and they're not fun to watch. They're just like a bunch of shit happening, and they try to have like some kind of weird message, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What's gonna end up happening is that that's definitely gonna affect the way I see the show. So for season 1, and it's understandable, a lot of people told me it's like a little bit rough. For season 1, I was just like, okay, these are the things that matter, and these are the parts that I like. I like the character of Angel. I like the character of Giles. I like this whole thing about like responsibility and how seriously Buffy takes things and what she has to do, that like she's fated to do and she doesn't want to, and there's like a lot of drama. There's a lot of coming of age, and like aspects of that I really like. But at the end of the day, it doesn't. It's not too outstanding. It's not something that like sticks out too much to me. And especially when we have entire like here's the thing. Okay, let me go back to this. So we have the teacher is a bug episode. The Buffy is in love with some random dude that we never seen before episode. And then the hyenas episode in a row, which means that for a period of 21 days, more than 21, right? It would be more than 21, because if I watch it on 1 week, yeah, it's like 21 plus like 6, I guess. Yeah, for basically a month, my entire like experience with Buffy was like the bug lady episode, the random Buffy falls in love with a random dude episode, and the hyenas episode, right? And then finally I got Angel, and I was like, oh, that's okay, we got something here. But that means that I had a long stretch where nothing was happening, and in fact it was a little bit weird and awkward, and it didn't feel that great. So people need to understand, and I understand that a lot of people are really, really passionate and really, really into the show, and I get that, and I think that's a good thing, right? Because this is something I really truly believe, and it's the fact that, as a wise old lady in a galaxy far, far away said one time, apathy is death. I think that worst thing you can do for any piece of like art or anything like that is to not care about it, is to show uncaringness, is to show apathy, is to not express any feelings about it. The best thing you could possibly do is to care. So when I see Buffy and I see so many people care about it, because it definitely does, like just as a weird like segment, is that Buffy is definitely the show that I've seen the most people care for on my history doing these videos. Like, I've gotten videos that have more views than Buffy episodes, but Buffy episodes do get a consistent stream of people that always tune in, a consistent amount of people that are always commenting and leaving likes and stuff. So that tells me that people care. That tells me that people really, really genuinely care. And I think that's a great thing. That's a wonderful thing. Like, I'm very happy for the Buffy fandom, and I think y'all are doing great. And I think y'all should continue to care about what you love, because I think that's literally the most important thing. Like, media only exists because people care about it. If you didn't care, then what the fuck is the point? Okay, I established that. However, you need to understand that for me, I don't have the emotional like attachment that you have towards the show yet. And that's not to say that I'm not gonna have it. I don't know if I'll have it. But whenever you think of Buffy, I'm pretty sure you are not thinking of the like hyenas episode. Like, you're not thinking about that episode. That's not what comes to your mind when you think about Buffy. When you think about Buffy, you think about probably the most impactful emotional scenes that the show probably has to offer on like season 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, right? I don't have that. So as I slowly go through these episodes, you have to understand that my entire feelings on the show are heavily dependent on what my very limited scope is. And when half of a season is just weird Monster of the Week episodes that really don't do anything other than be weird, then that's going to be my perception of the show, because I haven't seen anything else. So that's something I just want to establish, like, immediately. And I just want to be as honest as possible, because every now and then I get the occasional comment of someone who, like, is, like, weirdly upset at me for, like, not getting the show. And I'm like, I haven't finished it. I can't talk about it properly. I can't get the show if I haven't finished it yet. I've only been like a couple of episodes in. So my limited scope is gonna be what my feelings and my opinions on it are gonna be. The show can be amazing when it ends. I can be completely in love with it. It could be my favorite show ever. But I haven't gotten there yet. So you have to give me time here. However, this is just a very occasional comment that I get. It's not necessarily something that happens often. Don't worry, guys. It's okay. But I feel like I need to address it, because I feel like sometimes I never address whenever something like that happens. And sometimes I'm going to reply to a comment and it's going to sound like somewhat mean. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be mean to people. I don't want to sound mean. So I have to like express, hey, this is how it works for me. You have to understand that. Let's reach an understanding here. Moving into season 2, and this is very interesting, because season 2 definitely is a weird shift between because season 2 is still suffers from a lot of things that are not good about season 1. However, the highs of season 2 are pretty good. And what they're doing with the characters is also pretty good, because I feel like season 1 didn't do a lot with the characters that it was having, but season 2 did. So season 2 starts with Buffy being bad, because she just went through a traumatic experience and she's trying to cope with it in some way by presenting herself as in a position of power in a way. And I really like that episode because it shows that what happened previous season actually did affect her and everyone around her. And the way she's behaving is like it shows hurt, it shows character, but I also, probably my favorite part, and I hate to say this, but probably my favorite part in that entire episode is whenever Buffy falls for the trap where they tell her, hey, come look for us, and then she goes, and then all the vampires attack the rest of the gang with Willow, Sander, Giles, was it Cordelia? I don't remember what the entire group of characters that were taken was, but they took the characters under to try to resurrect the Master because they were the closest when he died. And my favorite part in the episode is when Buffy came back and she was having this moment of like, I tried to be a badass and a loner, but because of that, now everyone's getting hurt and maybe they might die. And I love the scene. My favorite scene is when Xander is left there and he just tells Buffy, if anything happens to Willow, I'll kill you myself. That was the best thing that Xander has ever done in the entire show, and it's only gone downhill from there to me. But and that was my favorite scene in the entire episode, because that was the moment where someone just called Buffy out on her bullshit, and it's so good that it was the dude who's like simping for her, right? Like Xander's absolutely like super into Buffy, and he hasn't moved on from that. But the fact that the moment he realizes like Buffy has been acting like terribly and bad, which earlier in the episode he was into it because she was like lap dancing for him or whatever. But the moment he realizes like Willow was put in danger because Buffy was kind of a shit, he's like, if something happens to her, I'm gonna kill you. Like straight up. And that was the moment where like that was so good because it shows that Xander actually cares about Willow a lot, which he should. And he has a moment of realization of like, this is Buffy's fault. Fuck her, you know? I really love that. I really love that he's putting that above his like weird feelings on her. And he actually does care about Willow. That was my favorite part about that episode. So I liked the first episode of season 2 immediately. But then episode 2, it's like back to the usual filler stuff, where we got Some Assembly Required, which is an episode where we meet a dude who's making a Frankenstein bride for his Frankenstein brother. The fuck? Like, that's a Torchwood episode. And I liked it. I don't want to say I didn't, because I did. I liked that episode. It was a weird Torchwood episode, and I'm gonna say it right here. This might be this might be a weird thing to say, but I think my favorite reaction series I've ever done on the channel is Torchwood, actually. Like Torchwood was so consistently weird and fun that I just, and it has so many like weird, interesting concepts, and everyone was fucked up, everyone was making mistakes, everyone was bisexual and fucking each other, and I'm like, hell yeah, like Torchwood fucking slaps. And I'm like, hell yeah, like Torchwood fucking slaps. But anyway, that's enough of a thing to say, but like, whatever. Back to Buffy. This episode, the Some Assembly Required episode, kind of reminded me of Torchwood. Like, it sounded like a Torchwood plot, which made me really like it. I really like that episode. That is a filler episode. That episode doesn't matter. We can skip it. Like, if we can define any episode as something that if you skipped, you wouldn't miss anything, that's a filler. Some Assembly Required is a filler. But then we get introduced to Spike and Drusilla in episode 3, School Heart. That one's good. That's a good one. I like that one. I like that one a lot. Because what Spike and Drew kind of represent is that, like, they show up and they look at the anointed one or whatever. Like, fuck that kid. Like, the kid literally doesn't matter. But, like, they show up and they go, like, yeah, okay, we have the remnants of what we were doing in season 1. Yeah, fuck that shit. That shit doesn't matter. Fucking eat that shit. Just kill it. Kill it good. We're gonna have some fun now. And I'm like, hell yeah. That is such a good, like, antagonist introduction and character introduction in general. Both character-wise as well as, like meta-wise. Because what it's doing is that it is getting rid of all the things that, like, sucked about season 1. It's just like, no, we're not doing that again. We're not doing the mastering, like, fuck that shit. We're killing that good, and we're gonna have some fun now. And I'm like, okay, cool. Hell yeah. I like this character. I like these characters a lot. That's how I felt about Spike and Drew. And that really hasn't really changed. Like, those characters are still very strong. I can't wait for them to come back in season 3 or somewhere. Like, they have to come back. They have to. Like, they're too good not to. That episode is also an episode where, like, everyone, like, they don't know what Buffy is or what she's doing. But we get a little bit of a hint of it, you know? Like, everyone, like, the entire school is in this, like, situation where, like, they're getting under attack or something. And Buffy saves them. And they get to see that Buffy's doing something, but they don't really, like, they don't think that she, like, did anything specific. They don't know that she's a vampire, so they don't know anything. But I had that, like, little bit of a feeling of, like, oh god, like, finally, like we get some, like, what's the word I'm looking for? We get some scale to some of these events where like these events are actually influencing the rest of the people that we know that that usually aren't part of these adventures, like Buffy's mom and the principal. Like, okay, no, they know, they're in the know now that something's going down, at least for this one encounter, and Buffy's helping them. That's good. I like that. And hey, my wish that Joyce would know what the deal is with Buffy eventually came true at the end of season 2. She knows now, so that's good. The mummy episode filler. Oh fuck, Reptile Boy. I don't like this episode. We're doing the whole thing with responsibility again, but it's also just a terrible episode. There's some snake dude, and it looks terrible, and not even the fight is satisfying because Buffy defeats it, and we don't get to see the hit. We just get to see that she does a swing, and then the thing just falls, and it's like, okay, we had $10 in the budget here. Like, we didn't have anything to work with. Like, fuck it. We needed to fill in 22 episode slots. They literally just got, like, I don't know, Rob the janitor to come and write something, and he was like, we can do something like this. And he was like, sure. I guess we'll roll with it. That's how I feel about that episode. The Mommy Girl episode and Reptile Boy. Like, that, again, that's the thing. Like, it's funny to me. Like, it's interesting, funny, and also jarring, mostly jarring, whenever someone tells her, like, oh my god, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a fucking masterpiece. And then I get to watch the Mummy episode, the Mommy Girl episode, and the Reptile Boy episode in a row. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, I'm sure it is in some episodes, but also some episodes are not. Some episodes very much are below average. They are solid 4 out of 10s. I don't know. I don't want to rank this episode. I mean, I could for fun, but yeah, no, these episodes aren't that great. The Mummy Girl episode, the Reptile Boy episodes, I genuinely believe that your experience if you were a first-time viewer of Buffy, your experience would straight up be better if you skipped both of those episodes. Just went from School Hard to Halloween. You can go to Lie to Me? Yes. Lie to Me. Dark Age? Yes. What's My Line? Part 1 and Part 2. Again, like, this is such a good streak here. Halloween, Lie to Me, The Dark Age, What's My Line Part 1, What's My Line Part 2. That's such a good, like, streak of episodes. And, like, that's when you get rewarded for sticking to Mummy Girl and Reptile Boy. You get Halloween, Lie to Me, Dark Age, What's My Line, Part 1 and 2. Like, that's so good. That's so good, because, like, just to be really quick, in Halloween, you get a weird, everyone becomes their costume kind of thing. That's a fun idea. I like that concept. Like, that's just a fun idea. We get introduced to the character of, I think his name was Ethan, and there's some thing about Giles, and Giles becomes a badass and he just starts beating the shit out of this guy, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's so cool. Like, what's going on? We get the promise of something greater for Giles, which is it's a character that now becomes more mysterious. You want to know more, and it's like, holy shit, I like this guy a lot. You get Lie to Me, which is when this random dude from Buffy's old school shows up, but then it turns out this guy is like a vampire, or not, he's a vampire cultist, and he tries to get Buffy to this vampire cult, so they can all, like, sacrifice her to the real vampires. Like, okay, dude. And then he gets converted and Buffy kills him at the end of the episode. Like, this was important to Buffy and to the conversation that she has to the dude. I don't remember the line, but that was a good conversation. Good drama for her as well. And I think that this is the episode where Lily shows up. Lily. I don't know her name in that episode, or the name she's gonna have in the future, which might be Anne. But Lily from episode 1 in season 3 is a character I really liked. So, and I think she shows up here. I haven't gone back to check, but I think she shows up there. That's a really good episode. The Dark Age, which is the Giles episode, where we get to learn about what happened to him in the past, and regarding Ethan and why he's the way that he is. And it makes his character, like, so interesting to me, and it's a character I really like now. Giles is a character I really, really like, and it's because of this. It's because in that episode we learned that, like, he had a past where he was kind of a rebel, and he tried to do some fucked up, like, demon summoning and shit, and that went wrong, and one of his friends died, and he was like, I'm never gonna do it again. And he was like, I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to be as much of, like, goody two shoes boy that I can be and be a good mentor figure, so like we can like defeat as much evil as we can because I feel like shit. I like, that's good. I like that. I like a character who's like, they are so fucked up that they like change everything about themselves in order to become a better person out of like personal guilt. Like, that's something that I love in a character. I can relate to that a lot. So like, I love this for Giles. I love that episode. It's such a good episode. Then we get introduced to Kendra. Yeah, we get introduced to Kendra. We had like a couple of assassins to show up. God, what happened in this episode? Like, we got a couple of assassins to show up and Kendra showed up. And then we went and we severely injured, they kidnapped Angel and then tried to use Angel in order to resurrect like Drusilla's powers. And they succeeded, actually. And then Spike got in a wheelchair because he was gravely injured during this fight. I remember that. Okay, I also like that. I like that the antagonists, like the main antagonists, are not so powerful. Like basically they kind of lose this fight in a way, but they survive. So it's not like a thing where like they're so overpowered we like can't deal with them at all. It's like, no, we encounter them and we kick their ass, and that's something I like. But okay, this two-parter introduces Kendra, which is good. I like Kendra conceptually. I don't know about the execution of Kendra, because Kendra is good here. And then I'm like, hell yeah, we're gonna get to see Kendra again. And then we get to see Kendra again for 10 minutes and then she dies. And it's like, alright then. That sounds like wasted potential. I've said before, I'm not sure if she's fully dead or like her soul is trapped in Drusilla or something. We can like rescue her in some weird way. Like, I don't know if she's gonna come back in any capacity. But the thing about Kendra is that I think she's kind of wasted potential right now. She was really cool when she showed up, and I was like, hell yeah, whenever she's going to show up again, it's going to be awesome. And then she showed up again in episode 21 for literally 10 minutes for like a couple of scenes, because she only showed up like halfway through that episode, and then she was dead by the end of it. And it's like, okay. Alright, so I think Kendra is a case of wasted potential. And also, like, maybe mishandling of the character. Because, like, even if you want to have a character who's, like, a tragic death, right? If you want to have a tragic death, that's good. Like, that, I like that. I want to raise the stakes, goddammit. But the thing about Kendra is that she's not in the show enough to make me care and become emotionally invested. So whenever at the end of that episode, Buffy's running in and it's slow motion, and it's like, you're not ready for the big moments, and she's like, oh my god, Kendra died, I'm so sad, and she's like so destroyed by it. I'm sitting here like, yeah, I've only seen her for like 5 minutes. Like, I wasn't that invested into this character. She only showed up for 5 minutes, and before that she showed up like once. Like, she was an ally for one episode, and I'm like, that's cool. But if she had been an ally for like a little bit longer, like that would have been great. Like, if Kendra had become a main cast member, or not even main cast, but like supporting cast, from the moment she's introduced in What's My Line, up until the finale, which is like, it's like 10 episodes, right? It's from episode, she stays for Ted. We're going to talk about Ted. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then 21 is when she dies. If she had stayed for that stretch of episodes, so like an extra 10 episodes, and she wasn't necessarily involved in every like main fight, she was just like part of the supporting cast. If that had been the case, and I understand that this would be difficult to write because she's another Slayer, which means that we have double the power that we normally would have. But if she had done that, if she had stayed for half a season, I would have been so invested by the time she died. But because she didn't do that, she left and then she came back just to die, it makes it so I'm like sitting here like I'm not emotionally there, show. Like, I know what you're trying to do here, but it doesn't work. You could have done it so much better. Fuck it, let's make her come back for the Go Fish episode. One extra episode, just 1 or 2 or whatever, like a little bit more than just like, hey, I'm back, hey, I'm dead. Yeah, like that doesn't work. That's one grab I have with season 2. Because the ending of episode 21 really feels like they want you to be sad and destroyed and feel Buffy's sadness, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm sorry, but like I think this could have been handled way better. Also, like, it's almost like a death just to be sacrificed on the altar of like Buffy development. It's like Kendra didn't do anything at all. So that's also like kind of a weird disservice to the character of Kendra, which I would have liked to see more. So I'm like, Whatever we're doing here, man. Anyway, so Kendra is the good thing that happens in What's My Line, and I really like that. And I'm sad now after finishing season 2 that didn't really go many places, but I really like that. Okay, let's talk about Ted. Ted is not a real episode. Ted is not a real episode. Like, Ted is, oh my god, like, okay. Unironically, whenever I think of Buffy, I'm gonna think of Ted. Like, after I finish the show, like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're gonna ask me about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I'm gonna think of fucking Ted and the fucking cursed ass thumbnail that I made for that video, where I'm just eating a mini pizza and I have the fucking TED Talk logo, and Ted just has like a cyborg like red eye in it, like a fucking, like, actually that thumbnail and that title is so clickbaity. Like, I actually, like, that single-handedly confirmed how important, like, thumbnails and titles are in order to, like, get video views. Because that video got way more views than any other video, and it's entirely because I made it, like, look stupid as fuck. But fucking Ted is something else, dude. Because Ted is an episode that tricks you in thinking that it's gonna be good, and it's gonna be really serious, and it's gonna be really, like... Because I was sitting here thinking about, like, thematically, like, Buffy wants a dad so bad, but then she's like, damn, like, this guy who I don't really like because he's actually really abusive, and it's like, oh, we're dealing into the topic of household abuse, and this is really serious, this is really important, and then she accidentally kills him, and it's like, oh my god, Buffy committed murder, not on a monster, but a real human being, and it's just like, and she's dealing through all this, like, emotional turmoil, and then the mom is like, I don't want to talk to you, and then she's seeing the police, and it's like, oh my god, it's like, so much is happening, and then it's like, JK, this guy was actually a robot made in the 50s, and he has a step-poor wife fetish, and we kill him good, and then the day is saved, and we're good. And it's like, that is a trip. That is a fucking trip. Like, Ted is filler, but I wouldn't skip Ted. I would never tell someone to skip Ted, because I want to see someone's, like, reaction to the whiplash that you get from watching Ted. Because it's like, oh my god, is this episode going to be really important? Is this episode going to be really heavy? And then, no, it's not. Like, I thought it would be important because it was, like, going into, like, household abuse. It was going on, like... Buffy's, like, abandonment issues. So I'm just sitting here like, oh, this is gonna be good. Like, this is gonna be really important. This is gonna be like, oh man, this is kind of fucked up. So, but no, it's just a dumb robot with a step-for wife fetish. Like, what the fuck? Ted is crazy. Ted is insane. Ted is fucking, like, it throws you off. Ted is fucking something else, dude. Like, like, oh my fucking god, shit, fuck, like. Okay, I'm just gonna. Ted does things to me. Whenever I think of Ted, I'm having troubles here, man. Like, I can't form words. Like, you just go back and watch my video on Ted, and you'll see me go through, like, the 7 stages of grief as I'm watching through it, because it's fucking crazy. Okay, so then we got the egg mom episode. Yeah, there's an egg alien or something, some ancient creature underneath the school. What the fuck? Moving on. Okay, here we go. We get Surprise Innocence. This 2-parter is really good. We get to see... I mean, again, like, I'm looking back at it, and it's like, after What's My Line Part 2, we got fucking Ted. So, like... But no, we get, after the egg mom episode, we get Surprise and Innocent, which is a great 2-parter, where we learned that if Angel fucks, he becomes bad again. I'm simplifying it just because I like making people upset, but that's actually what happened. That's literally what happened. And it's funny because, like, I don't know, I remember... Some people are so pedantic sometimes in the comments, because I remember when I said that, and I said, like, yeah, he fucked and then he turned bad again, and I'm like, yeah, I'm simplifying for fun. And I remember I got, like, a comment or something that was just like, well, he didn't fuck and turn evil, because this happens later. So that means that after he felt the elation after the event and he was resting, that's when the rest afterwards is what actually turned him back into a vampire. And it's like, that's when it finally happened. It's like Like, motherfucker, like, that's like saying, I went to the kitchen and I made food, and then you're like, well, you didn't just make food, you grabbed the pan, and then you turn on the kitchens, and then the fire, and then you chopped off the onions, and then you rice the rice cooker, and you put in the rice in there with the water, obviously, water first, then the rice, and it's like, you, like, motherfucker, like, that's what happened. We don't need to go through every specific step. He fucked and he went bad. Like, that's the simple way to say it, and that's actually what happened. It's not like, oh, he felt calm and elated after the event, and that's when it finally happened. Like, like, what are we doing here? Chill. Anyway, so that two-part is good. We also got the best actor in the show back again, which is Brian Thompson, who played Shao Kahn in the Mortal Kombat Annihilation movie. I'm gonna be honest with you, low-key, I want to do a full movie review, like reaction review to Mortal Kombat Annihilation 1997, just because, like, that's genuinely one of my favorite movies of all time, and that movie sucks! And it's so good! And it also reminds you of Buffy in a way, because it's so, like, trashy at times. I know what I said. I'll get back to that in a second. By the way, I'm not going for like an hour. I'm like halfway through the things I wanted to say. I have a lot to say, but okay, let's keep going because this is gonna take forever otherwise. But this is the episode. This is the two-parter where Angel goes bad. Buffy loses her virginity. This is very personal. We fight the Blue Man Group, Brian Thompson. That's good. I like that one. We defeat him with a rocket launcher. Good. We get Oz turning into a werewolf. And also, there's a dude who's gay. That's good. I like that episode. I like Faces. Faces is good. I like Oz as a character. I want Oz to become more of a mainstay character, and I hope that's what we're gonna do with him moving into season 3. I hope so. I really like Oz. Episode 16, Bewitched, Bother, and Bewildered. This is a filler episode. It's something. Like, what the fuck is this episode? I don't know, man. Every woman is horny for Sander the episode. Like, this is fucking. It's just a weird ass fucking episode. I don't want to talk about it. But Amy came back in that episode, and I really like that. I want Amy to show up again. I like Amy as a character, and now she's a witch too, so that's good. Okay, then from that episode, we go into Passion. Again, tonal dissonance. Like, that's the thing about this show. That's the thing about fucking Buffy, at least for seasons 1 and 2. It's that you're gonna get the weirdest fucking episodes that are not very good. I'm just gonna say it. Bewitched, Bother, and Bewilder is not a very good episode. I don't think it is. And then you're gonna have fucking Passion, which is a fantastic episode. It is an episode where finally we get to start seeing consequences, like lasting consequences and losses to characters that we know about. We get to see how that influences the people around us, how they react, how they feel. And all of this drama actually comes in and is really good. And I really like everything about bad Angelus, I guess. Because, like, Angelus is obsessed with torturing them. Angelus is so... It's not like he doesn't care about all this human shit. It's that he hates it so much that he actively lashes out and wants to do all these terrible things to them. And that's how the theme of passion comes in. And I really like that. We get to see Giles being super destroyed about this. Jenny almost like had it. She had the ritual and everything that would have turned Angel good, and it would have worked because we see it work later. But like she has everything, and it's like it's sad. It's fucked up. Like I like that episode a lot because of the drama of it is the best drama you get in the entire show so far. I think. I mean, let me look at everything else. I really like the first episode of 3rd season. That one's really good. But we're not gonna count that one. That one we haven't talked to. We don't have to talk about it yet. But Passion is probably the best episode of my entire journey so far in seasons 1 and 2. Passion is probably the best one, I think. Like, let me look at all of them again. Witch, Angel, when she was bad, School Hard, some assembly required, Halloween. Dark Age. I really like Dark Age. Ted. Like, I talk shit about Ted, but Ted is an episode that I won't forget. that is an episode that becomes one of my favorite episodes in the show just because of the sheer amount of emotion that I have towards it. More than any other episode, actually. I feel more things towards Ted than towards anything else in the show. Like, again, what I said earlier, that is something I truly believe. The worst thing you can do towards a piece of media or art is to show apathy, to not care about it. If something makes you feel something and makes you care about it, then that's a good thing. Nothing has made me feel more things and care more about it than fucking Ted. Not because it was good, not because it was dramatic, like it had a good drama or it had plot progression or it had a good character or antagonist or anything, just because of the sheer whiplash that I got from Ted and how fucking nuts it is. Ted becomes one of my favorite episodes entirely just because of that, because of my emotional attachment to it. What those emotions are, whether they're negative or positive, is a different topic altogether, and I don't think I can give you an answer because I'm not fully sure myself. But that's how I feel about Ted. Anyway, surprise, innocence, faces, passion. I think passion's the best, actually. I Only Have Eyes for You is good. Becoming, I think Passion is still my favorite. I think Passion is still my favorite episode of Buffy season 2 and 1. So yeah, Passion is a great episode. I don't know how people feel about these episodes in general, but like Passion to me is the best one so far. So yeah, I really like that one. It's dramatic, it's heavy. It has permanent consequences and loss. And we get to see how characters feel a lot, and that's good. Killed by Death, filler episode. Buffy goes to the hospital. We get introduced to some weird cousin that Buffy had at one point, and she's dead because she got killed by the boogeyman, Freddy Krueger. I Only Have Eyes for You is good because I think I Only Have Eyes for You is the best episode in terms of this is a filler episode, but it melts really well into an actual real episode. I really like that one. I Only Have Eyes for You is really good because of that. Because we got this like Monster of the Week kind of episode, which is this weird ghost possession thing of two lovers. And their dynamic is weird, but then we got to see how that ties into Buffy as a character and how she feels and her relationship with Angel and Angelus. And that all comes full circle, that all comes together, and that is very good. I really like that episode because it successfully ties the real show into the fake show that is just filler that you can skip. But this one actually does it really well. It all melds together really, really well, and I really like that. Like, if you want to make me care and like and consider a filler episode to be fantastic, then you have to give me a filler episode that actually does weave into the real plot narrative well, with like a real character dynamic and development and stuff. Like, you have to do that for me, and then I'll be like, okay, this is a filler episode, but it's like it's one that you don't really skip. It's great. Then we gotta Go Fish. Probably the worst episode of the show so far, or ever. I don't like Go Fish. Fuck that episode. I did a full Metalocalypse cover during that episode, which was fun. I put a lot of effort into editing that. But I even edited a full version because I actually sang the entire song, but I didn't put that in the video. I just did like a short version. Yeah, Go Fish is fucking whatever. And then we got Becoming, part 1 and 2. Part of, like probably the things that stand out the most about Becoming to me is that we get to see Angel before he met Buffy, and it's interesting to see that. We get to learn more about him and a character named Whistler. I have no idea what his deal is yet, and I can't wait to see what the deal with that is in the future. But I really like that. We got introduced to a lot of things from the past, and we get to get more insight into Angel as a person and Whistler and the promise of what's to come. And the final thing is Buffy being destroyed. Like at the end of Becoming Part 2, Buffy kind of loses everything. She's expelled from school. She doesn't feel like she's welcome at home. She just killed her boyfriend without telling him anything. She just fucking did it. And then she's just standing there and being like, what the fuck? And someone left a comment to me that was like, it's something I didn't realize, but I can see this mattering. And it's that Xander told Buffy, Willow told me too, and then he was meant to say that that Willow was gonna try to do the spell to restore Angel, but then he said, she told me to kill him good. Just kill Angel. And Buffy's like, okay, sure. But then after that happened, after she actually does kill him, then she's thinking to herself, like, even my friends wanted him dead, but I didn't, and in fact I feel terrible about it. So she's sitting there being like, okay, so I can't even like talk to my friends about it because they're not with me on this pain. They didn't care. So she doesn't have anyone to turn to, so she just runs away. And she just runs away and she goes to, I don't actually know where it was. I watched the episode. I don't remember where it was, but she's working in a Wendy's or something in some other place. But this is really good. And it's even better because I watched the first episode of season 3 actually, because now I know how much that affected her and how much she just like gave up and she just decided to run away to try and escape from the pain in a way. So I really like that. That's fantastic for her character. Yeah, that's probably the main thing about Becoming Part 2. And I liked it. Like you can tell that I just said a lot about season 2, and it's just because season 2 is that much better than season 1. Season 1 is just like, what are we doing? But also you have to like okay, let me list them. Summon Assembly Required, Inca Mummy Girl, Reptile Boy, Ted, Bad Eggs, Bewitch, Bother and Bewilder, Killed by Death, and Go Fish. I am not gonna count Only Have Eyes for You, and I'm not gonna count Faces because I think that's important to us. So in total, we got 8 episodes. We got 8 episodes of shit that is weird and doesn't matter, and in some instances, it's just awkward. It's just uncomfortable to watch. So we haven't really fully moved on from that from season 1. And sometimes characters will even say lines that I'm like, this doesn't fit. Like, this doesn't sound like something you would say. Like sometimes I feel like it's very easy to see through the veil. It's very easy to see like, oh, this is just another writer that is just writing this character, and it's not a writer that I'm used to. And this writer is kind of maybe even forgetting some of the other stuff in some of the other episodes, I feel like. Because this character would not say this after the events of that other episode that I watched a couple weeks ago. Like, that's how I feel sometimes. And that's something that becomes very clear in season 2. Because some of these episodes are just weird. And like, I hope that this gets better as we move into season 3 and onward. And I've been told that we have less of these episodes, like filler episodes moving forward, and especially in season 3. And I hope that's the case, and I'm excited for it. But like, I feel like I think that if you really care about a show or any piece of media, any piece of art, you have to be able to look at something that it does that is just not great and be like, yeah, this wasn't great. Like, this was a thing where like, hey, maybe they didn't think about it hard enough. Maybe they just fucked up. Maybe the guy that they got to do this wasn't the best. Maybe he wasn't fully aware of what we were doing. Like, maybe there was some poor management. Maybe they had like 0 budget. Maybe they had 0 time in order to work on something. They just had to like throw something together in order to comply to the 22 episode slot, and they just had to make some shit up. Like, that this is all completely understandable. This is just how it works. Because a pet peeve that I have in general, like in all of media, and I don't want to sound grumpy, and I don't want to sound like I'm attacking any piece of media or art, because I'm not, is that I think that whenever you put something into a pedestal and just be like, no, this was great, and this was always intended to be that way, I feel like I don't like that. I think that's just lying to yourself. Because my favorite thing ever is whenever I see like an interview with a creator, or like an interview or some kind of commentary that they do, and they just say like, yeah, man, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, or like, yeah, I don't know, I just forget shit sometimes. Because like that's why I love JoJo so much too, because JoJo is my favorite show ever, and like, I think I love about JoJo, it's that it's entirely written in the moment. It's one of those things where like, it just says it's doing something right now, and if you think about it, it's like, but that doesn't make sense, because like a couple weeks ago, then it's like, no, shut the fuck up, we're doing something right now, and that's all that matters. And it's like, but what about the repercussions that are gonna happen in like in a little bit into the future? It's like, shut the fuck up, the only thing that matters is right here. And that's what I love about JoJo, because the guy who writes JoJo literally just writes in the moment. You have to really suspend your disbelief for it, but that makes it really enjoyable. Like, if you get past that, then all this shit that he does in the moment is always really fun and really cool, and you get really into it. And there are some weird JoJo fans even that, like, they look at stuff and it's like, oh yeah, no, he planned this, or like, oh no, he was really setting things up here. And I'm just sitting here like, he clearly wasn't. Like, he wasn't. He was just making shit up, and he constantly says, I make shit up. And like, that's my favorite thing, because I think people forget that creators are just like people. I think people like to put creators on weird pedestals, and it's like, no, they're just people, and they're just making some stuff up. And sometimes it's really planned. Sometimes they're like fucking architects, and they make like something so convoluted and something so like specific, and they set everything up and it looks like fucking genius. That's not Buffy the Vampire Slayer, or at least not half of the episodes. They are not. Like, half of these episodes don't matter. And they feel weird, and they feel like they are not canon because of the way people talk. It's not the way the character would talk in other episodes. Like, that's generally how I feel about like half of Buffy that I've seen. Because again, half of season 1 or more is like that. And at least 8 episodes of season 2 are like that too. That's a lot of episodes. Like, I have 34 videos on my channel. Like, 15 of those are episodes like that. Those are episodes where I just feel like this is not a real episode. Like, a real episode will give me a character that I'm like, okay, this makes sense to the other stuff that you went through a couple weeks ago. Like, this makes sense to your character. This makes sense to the personality that you have and the experiences you've lived through. Sometimes I don't get that. Sometimes it just feels like they just forgot. The dude who was writing this particular episode just forgot. And that's a human thing. That's completely normal. I don't think that saying like, no, this was completely perfect just the way it is. I'm like, no, like, you can always like look at something and criticize it and be like, this could be done better, or this was, maybe there was some kind of error, or maybe they just threw something together real quick because they didn't have the time to work it out, because they had to adhere to like a strict schedule or something. Like, this is all very common stuff. So I think we need, like, Buffy fandom, I understand that you're very passionate, and I like that about you. That's something I like. However, I think it's very important to be able to look at something and be like, not the best thing. Actually, this wasn't perfect. They didn't work the shit out very well. They dropped the ball. Could have been better. Like, I think we can do that. I think that's something that we can just do. I think that's something very easy to do. And I think we all need to, like, acknowledge it at one point. So the short version, I just, instead of telling you how I feel about the show, I just give you a full recap of every episode individually and how I feel about it. But how I feel about the show so far, in short, season 1 is weird. I like some of the stuff that it was setting up with the characters, like Angel, but at the end of the day, it didn't really have much to offer me. And it felt kind of like a generic plotline of good versus evil. And also a coming-of-age story. That's it. And it's very white. It's very American and white. And that's all I can tell you. That's season 1 for me. I didn't feel too strongly about it. Like, that's the other thing about me that I've said before, but you gotta understand, is that it takes a lot for me to hate something, or like straight up dislike something. But it's very easy for me to just stay in a good neutral point of like, yeah, okay. And that's how I feel about towards season 1. I'm just like, yeah, okay. I didn't feel strongly about it. I wasn't like super hype about it. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll see how this goes. And that was it. That was season 1 for me. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. It was just like, all right, moving on kind of thing. Season 2, however, was much better. Season 2 made me feel like, okay, I see where we're going. I see where we're cooking here. A lot of the things that we had in season 1 actually became so much better in season 2 because season 1 is like introducing things. Season 2 is like developing it finally. And I like that. I like that a lot. Season 2 is doing great with its drama, with all the characters that introduced, with like Angel and Giles and Buffy, and like a little bit of Willow, introducing Oz, Cordelia fucking awesome. I love Cordelia, dude. But like, yeah, it's like everything season 2 is doing, not everything, but like a lot of what it's doing is so much better than season 1, but it's because it's building on season 1. So, okay. A lot of the drama and the way we go here with Angel and Angelus, for example, and how he just becomes the main antagonist halfway through the season. Like that's really interesting to me. I really like that. Where we take Giles as a character is something I really like too. Like season 2, I like a lot more than season 1. It's not like my favorite thing ever, but I like it a lot, and I want to see where this goes. Like, I definitely see how we're building up something great here. We have all of these ingredients, we have all of these characters, we have all of these things that we have established, and now we have like another like 100 episodes to watch, and it's like, all right, let's see where we go now. Like, there's a lot to see here. Also, the introduction of Spike and Drusilla, just great characters. I really like them. Okay. So that's my short version of how I feel towards season 1 and 2 of Buffy. So far, that's how I feel. I have questions that people dropped on me because I asked people to give me questions. Dude, I've been talking for like, I don't know how long. Dude, I've been talking for like an hour and a half. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I have to go cook some food too. Anyway, so I told people to give me some questions that I could reply or something about how I feel about Buffy season 1 and 2. So, okay, this is some of the questions that people gave me. And I actually forgot to ask people whether or not they're cool with me saying their names. So I guess I'm not gonna say their names. Man, I should get used to asking that more often. I would like to say your name, but I don't know if you would be cool with it, so I'm not gonna say it. Okay, we got one question here, and it's, I would be interested in your take on 2 different types of best episodes, the so bad it's good kind and the actually good kind. Maybe a top 3, or however many feels right to you for each. I'm more interested on the reasoning behind any given episode making the cut or not. And of course, any riffing off of this general idea that strikes your fancy, although I'm pretty sure you just do that automatically regardless. I'd also be interested in your hopes and fears, if any, for season 3. What would you like to keep from season 1 and 2? What would you like to see changed? That kind of thing. Okay, my top 3 of good and bad episodes. Okay, let me look at them. Good episodes. Okay, I have my top 2. What is my third one? I don't know what my third one would be. Maybe Becoming Part 2. Maybe Becoming Part 2. Okay, so top 3 of like real episodes. Becoming Part 2 in number 3. The Dark Age in number 2. And Passion on number 1. That's my top 3. And if you want my reasoning for these episodes, just go back a couple minutes where I talk about each of these episodes individually. That's my reasoning. My top 3 of bad episodes, the filler episodes. I have my number 1. I have my number 1 immediately. What is my number 2 and 3 though? Okay, season 1. What's up? What you got? Witch is good. I mean, it's not so bad it's good. It's just filler, right? But like, okay, I guess it counts. The robot episode is kinda good. The puppet episode is kinda good. Okay, this is my answer. If we're doing a ranking of like filler episodes, then Witch is probably number 3. Some Assembler Required is probably number 2, maybe. Top 1 is Ted. And if you want a top 3 of specifically which episodes that are so bad and so good, then it's Ted 3 times. Interested in your hopes and fears, if any, for season 3. What would you like to see keep from season 1 and 2, and what would you like to see change? I just want to see some more good drama build on what we're doing here with season 2. I like that. I like the drama that we had, and I want to see more being built on top of that. I want to see more about Joyce, because now Joyce knows about Buffy. I just want more people to learn. I also want Oz to become a more regular cast member as well as Cordelia. I'd like to see Ethan more. Okay, so this is my main thing that I want to see more. I want to see more characters come back, right? I want to see Ethan come back. I want to see Amy come back. I want to see fucking Lily come back. I want to see so many characters just come back. Just constantly just bring up people again. I've compared Buffy to Diamond is Unbreakable before, which is my favorite JoJo part. And just so we're all clear, what Diamond is Unbreakable does is that it introduces a town, it introduces a community of people, it introduces a main cast, but then the main cast interacts with random people that they meet each episode, and then we've built a community, and then later those characters come back again. And it creates this feeling of this town being alive, of this community being real. And that's something I want to see for Buffy. I want to see like so many of these characters that we've seen before appear again. and that would make it feel really good for me. It would make the world feel way more alive. It would also like make all the episodes that like kind of don't matter a lot more, because I'm like, oh, that guy, you know, like fucking, I think his name was Larry. I think you see Larry in the first episode of season 3, actually, for like a couple seconds. I could be wrong. White people are difficult to tell apart. If that is Larry, then that's a good thing. That's a good signal, because that means that we might start seeing these characters appear over and over again. And I love to see that. That's my main thing that I would love to see. Just build up more in the drama. I want to see Spike and Drew again. Just good drama. Just good drama. Fears for season 3. Another Go Fish episode, another Ted episode. Like, I don't know, man. Like, episodes that are just whatever. Like, episodes that don't matter. Filler episodes. I don't want to see that again. I think I've been told that, like, they might happen, but much less than before. So, yeah. Buffy gives me this feeling, at least so far, of a show that needs to fill this like X amount of slots for TV, so they have to make up bullshit stories in order to fill that quota. I don't want that feeling. I want a feeling of a show that was a season that was perfectly crafted to be what it is, and from episode 1 until the end of that season, it feels like, okay, this was all good and planned. It wasn't just like, oh, we need to get fucking Kurt from accounting to come and write some shit up and make up some bullshit story. And it's like, okay, now we got the fucking bug teacher episode. It's like, no. That's how I feel about Buffy so far. I want those episodes to not be there anymore, because they feel very jarring to a real story that they're trying to tell with some of the other episodes. Okay, another question from another user. What have you been your favorite character dynamics up to this point? Do you have any predictions for season 3? What has been your favorite bad episode so far? Ted. Okay, so my favorite character dynamic up to this point, Giles and anyone. Like Giles and Buffy, Giles and Ethan, Giles and Jenny, you know, to a degree. I like Giles. I like that Angel turned bad. That was fun. And he has like this like weird like vendetta and obsession in like a twisted, hateful way towards everyone else. I like that one. Cordelia, I mean, that's just Cordelia. I just like Cordelia. Like, I don't know character dynamic, but I just like Cordelia. Willow and Oz. Willow and Oz is good. I like Willow and Oz. Predictions for season 3. I don't fucking know, man. I mean, I just started episode 1 of season 3, which means that I know where Buffy is at. So I can't give you a prediction on that, because I know kind of where she is at the point in her life. And I know what happens at the end of the first episode of season 3. So I'm like, okay, anything that I could have predicted, it's kind of gone. I know what happens in the first episode of season 3. And beyond that, I have no fucking clue. Favorite bad episode 10. Okay, another user here. More questions. How does Buffy compare so far to other vampire or supernatural shows you've seen, if any? I mean, I haven't watched many supernatural shows. Like I watch like sci-fi and stuff. I mean, I guess I haven't watched many shows in general. It's weird that this is my channel, right? But like I haven't watched that many shows or movies even. Like that's like a blind spot for me. I have like a lot of like experience with like video games, to a degree anime. If we're talking about like pre-2010 anime, I have like some knowledge to it. And then JoJo, I really like JoJo. And then games and stuff. I don't have that much experience with like real with like live action shows. I also know movies. I feel like I'm the kind of person that like when I get into something, I really get into it, go all the way to try to analyze the stuff and shit. But like I don't actually diverge too much into exploring outside of what I'm really into. So this channel actually allows me to do that. That's why I'm watching Buffy now, even though it's like apparently like a big show. It's because I never got around doing so before. I never explored outside of what I was already doing. So comparing Buffy to other vampire supernatural shows I've seen, I don't really have any. JoJo Phantom Blood, I guess. JoJo Phantom Blood and Bile Tendency. How does it compare? I don't know. Like, so far, again, I feel like they are struggling to find what to do on an episode-to-episode basis. I don't want to feel that way. Like, straight up, I feel like if I remove like 15 episodes out of the 34 videos that I've watched so far, like the 34 episodes that I watch, if I remove 15 of them, my experience would be significantly better. And that's a problem, right? You don't want to have that. It's like a weird case of like you get a little bit too much content that it just actually taints the rest of the experience. How does it compare? I mean, it feels like there's a lot that shouldn't be there. So yeah, I can't compare it too much to other stuff because I don't have many points of comparison, but that's how I feel. What has been your least favorite episode so far? I tend to like most bad episodes, but I can't stand To Fight, the college frat episode. Yeah, Reptile Boy. My least favorite episode is either Reptile Boy or Go Fish. I don't like those episodes. Reptile Boy and Go Fish are just not good. They're not good. They're not fun. Bewitch, Bother, and Bewilder is also like too crazy. It's not misogynistic, but it's on a thin line. The Bewitch, Bother, and Bewilder episode. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. But yeah, it's either Reptile Boy or Go Fish. I don't like those episodes. I hate that Go Fish comes like right before Becoming. Again, if we had just gone from Passion to I Only Have Eyes for You to Becoming, this show, like this season would be so much better. But no, we had to have fucking Killed by Death and Go Fish in between. Like, what are we doing? Shows I recommend, this is not a question, shows I recommend highly include Xena, My Hero Academia, and True Blood. I know about Xena, I haven't seen it. I think she's cool because she's like a superhero that beats people up and she looks fucking great. I have watched the first 3 seasons of My Hero Academia. I didn't continue it, but I'm not gonna do a reaction series to it because I watched the first 3 seasons. And I should probably continue it on my off time. But My Hero Academia is very like, it's a very safe show, you know? My Hero Academia is very safe. If you ever watch any shonen anime, My Hero Academia is very safe. It doesn't really go outside of its box too much, but it doesn't make it less fun. My Hero Academia is fun, and the All Might versus All for One fight in season 3 is fucking good. It's so good. I like that one a lot. So that's my Hero Academia commentary for the day. True Blood. I don't know anything about it. Let me look it up. True Blood. What is this? American fantasy horror drama television series produced and created by Alan Ball. That's a good name. I like that. Alan Ball. It's a fantasy horror drama. I mean, I'm not a big horror fan. I like some aspects of horror, but horror is such a broad term, and some horror I don't like at all, and some horror I'm really into. So I don't know if I'll like that one. We'll have to see. Are you showing full episodes on Patreon yet? Dropbox is fairly cheap. I have good news for you. I actually did realize this a while ago. Because after Buffy season 2 finale, and I got a couple of messages from people being like, I have issues syncing up episodes. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do here? Because I can't watch the live streaming services versions because apparently those versions are awful. And the DVD versions have issues syncing up with everything, including other DVD versions, because it's different according to regions, I think. So, okay, what are we going to do here? Someone told me to check out Dropbox, and I did. I paid a subscription to it. So now I'm paying Dropbox like a couple bucks a month. I've uploaded all of Buffy season 1 and 2, my episodes, my versions of the show, like the DVD episodes that I've been watching. I uploaded those to Dropbox, and I'm going to post them on Patreon so people can sync up my footage with, like, both of my footages. The footage of me watching the show and my episodes that I'm providing you. But also for the season 2 finale and for the movie, and I'm going to do the same for the first episode of season 3. I'm going to just share the full, like, me reacting to the episode on the same video on Dropbox, because I can upload that. Dropbox doesn't block it. So I think moving forward for season 3 and onwards, I'm going to share my footage with the episode. Just it's called picture in picture. I don't know what the term is, but just a full reaction video for the full episode. Just go watch it. Just fuck it. But like, that's the thing, is that I can do that with Dropbox. Dropbox allows me to upload that shit. And I think I have enough storage in order to upload all of my Buffy reactions there if I wanted to. However, just let you know, like, I'm not gonna pay for Dropbox forever. So I'm gonna keep paying for Dropbox up until I finish Buffy and maybe a little bit after that. But then I'm gonna stop. And when I stop paying for Dropbox, all of the episodes are just gonna fucking disappear. So I'm gonna probably show full episodes on Patreon for now. And then long term, those episodes are just gonna go away. And you're just gonna get the normal full-length reaction, which is just me and my face, and that's it. Those are still going to be up on YouTube, but I'm going to be paying for Dropbox to upload the full footage version of the episodes, as well as a secondary option if you pay for full-length on Patreon. So I'm probably going to do that moving forward. I'm not going to retroactively do that. I'm just going to share the episodes, but moving forward, I'm going to be doing that. And I already did that with the movie from 1992, which is a good-ass movie. So yeah, that's the answer to your question. Who are some of your favorite characters? Giles, Cordelia. I mean, I like a lot of things about Angel. Not Angelus, but I like things about Angel. I like Spike, I like Drusilla. I like how fucking weird Drusilla is. I actually really like Drusilla, actually. Giles, Cordelia, Drusilla. We haven't seen enough of Amy, but I like Amy. And we've only seen Lily, and I'm not even sure what to call her, because she goes by like 3 different names. But I like Lily from episode 1 of season 3 a lot. I don't know if we're going to see her more, but yeah. As far as like real characters, I like Cordelia, Giles, and Drusilla a lot. What would it take for season 3 of Buffy to make you decide to watch Angel? Like, I don't want to watch Angel. I don't have enough time to make videos on Angel as well. Like, I don't. Like, maybe after I finish Chainsaw Man, I could just do Buffy and Angel at the same time on the channel. But, like, I don't want to. I want to watch all different shows other than just Buffy. Angel is just Buffy too. I don't want to watch that. I could watch it on my own time, but I also heard that Angel is not that good. Like maybe it's cool to watch Angel and Buffy and to have like full context for everything that's happening in the world. And that sounds like something that I maybe I would want to get into, because like I didn't watch Torchwood when it was airing. I didn't watch it alongside Doctor Who. And in hindsight, I wish I would have. I mean, it would have meant that I wouldn't have done a reaction series to Torchwood, which would have been a bad thing. But like, I would have liked to watch Torchwood and Doctor Who at the same time. So yes, on that level, I maybe would like it. Like maybe season 3 becomes so fucking good and it becomes like really fun, like fun, it's specifically fun to watch. And I don't know, Angel is in hell or some shit. Like, and we get to see Angel in hell, or he time travel. If Angel time travel too, like that would be fun. Like, because I don't know what happened at the end with Angel. Like, he went to a portal and then, I don't know. He's either in hell or dead, or I don't know. But, like, that might be interesting. But I've also heard from people that, like, some Angel episodes are just not that fun. And, like, sometimes, like, they would take away from your enjoyment of the main show. And if that's the case, then that creates the issue that we have had with season 1 and 2 that I just mentioned. It would be so much better for me to not do that. So I don't want to do it. I don't want to know what happens in Angel. I don't know what it would take for me to actually decide to watch Angel. But if I do, I'm probably not going to do it on the channel. It's just going to be on my own time. And then maybe I'll release a video every now and then that is like, hey, here's my status report on Angel. And that's it. Okay, other question. What are you hoping to see more of in season 3? Also, this isn't a question. Okay, what is this comment? Okay, let me read this. This is really funny. What are you hoping to see more in season 3? Also, this isn't a question, but I'm just gonna say that you do not have to watch Angel. I would say the first 2 seasons of Angel were good, but everything after that went downhill fast, in my opinion. I honestly hated when people start with Angel, because it means we wait twice as long for Buffy reactions just to react to Angel, which I don't care about at all, but that's just my 2 cents. I'm looking forward to seeing you take on season 3. You're a smart, insightful guy. I don't know about that. And I always enjoy seeing young people react to this timeless coming of age show. I'm 26 years old. I mean, maybe I'm younger than this person, so maybe they still consider me young. But like, after I have heard one person be like, I could say that you're maybe 16. I was like, I'm 26, motherfucker. Like, I'm not young. I wish I was younger, but I'm not. But like, I still have to state my age sometimes because I feel like people maybe don't realize that I'm 26. There's other replies to this one reply. Interesting, as far as I've seen, most people prefer the later seasons of Angel. Really? Up to you whether you watch Angel or not. I'd be here for it. Don't let other people try to convince you that it's not worthwhile. I actually think the two shows are glorious. Okay, so people are divisive on Angel, which is still a red flag, right? That people are divisive on it instead of overwhelmingly in favor of. Because I've heard many people be like, yeah, Angel's kind of, I don't know. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with Angel. Maybe I'll watch it. Like, okay. I'm going to say this right here, and maybe I'll address it later too. If there are some Angel episodes that I absolutely must watch, absolutely, then let me know exactly which Angel episodes I have to watch and when do I have to watch them. Like, give me the specific number and title of the episode, and only the essential ones, and only when they're relevant, and maybe I'll watch them. That's what I want to know. That's it. Don't spoil anything, but just do that, okay? Okay. Anyway, this question was, what are you hoping to see more in Season 3? I think I replied this already. I don't know what. I just want to see, like, the community become more real in the town. And here's the final question. I've said this one. I've saved this question for last because it's a good question. Because it's basically what people know me for. I feel like in the Buffy reaction community, and it's someone left this question, which is very simple, and it's, do you still think the show is trashy? Okay, that's a heavy loaded question. It's also like slightly aggressive, you know, like that's like slightly just like, hey, I remember you called this show trashy, motherfucker. Do you still feel that way? And my answer to you is half the time, yes. Half the time, yes. Like, for seasons 1 and 2, half the time, yes. I don't know if this is gonna be the case moving forward, but like, bro, season 1 is mad trashy. And season 2 has, like, we counted them, like 8 trashy episodes. Yes, the show feels trashy sometimes. Not all of the time, but sometimes, yes. That's not something that went away. It's just something that diminished. And this is something, I've said this before, and I'm going to bring it up again, because people don't get this sometimes. And it's the fact that, like, when I say trashy, that's not a negative to me. That's a descriptive, right? Because, like, I don't know what other word to use. Like, campy, it is campy, but, like, that doesn't fully express what I want to say. Trashy express it, because what I mean by trashy is that, like, yes, I'm watching this show, and it's like I'm watching fucking Reptile Boy, and it's like, yeah, whatever, we have some, like, frat boys and some Blizzard dude that shows up, and Buffy grabs a sword, and we don't get to see the fight, and then it's like, oh, we're done, and then we got, like, a weird theme of, like responsibility that is redundant because we've done this before already, and characters talk like as if we didn't, and it's just I'm just sitting here like, this episode doesn't matter, this episode isn't real, it didn't connect to the rest of the show, the action was subpar, the costumes were shit, like the full frat boy angle was weird and I didn't like it, and we got Sander and drag. It's like, I don't know what the fuck is happening in this episode, and it's like, that's just one example, but like, we get that sometimes we get episodes that are just like, yeah, this is just whatever. And what I mean by trashy is that, like, this is 90s, and also this is like practical effects, and it's very rough practical effects. They had like $20 as a budget, and you can tell that, like, and like, what I mean by trashy is that you can feel that. You can feel that this was something that wasn't great yet. Like, if it was gonna become great later, then sure. But some of these episodes indicate you that they're just struggling to survive right now. And the fact that this becomes a successful story, because Buffy becomes very well liked and remembered fondly, looking back on it, like, now that we're in the future, like, I know that about Buffy, you know that about Buffy, you're one of the people that keep the show alive, that's a great thing. But the fact that this is where it began is very humble. It's very humble beginnings. So yes, it is trashy. Some episodes are trashy, not all of them, but like most of season 1 and like 8 or 10 or whatever episodes of season 2 are still like trashy. But season 2 was a significant improvement. So I wouldn't call episodes like What's My Line or Passion or God, I forgot, Becoming. I wouldn't call those episodes trashy, but a lot of the things that happen in some of these episodes do feel trashy. Do I still think the show is trashy? Half the time, yes. Half the time, no. It depends heavily on the episode. So that's my answer to you. That, again, is not a negative. All of Power Rangers is trashy, and I like Power Rangers, so there you go. All right, so I think that's all the questions that I have to answer here. And I think I already talked like heavily about the entire show now. This video is almost 2 hours long. I mean, it's an hour 49 minutes, and I'm gonna cut all of an hour 50 minutes, and I'm gonna cut this down to the digestible amount. Dude, I'm gonna have to edit this shit. Like, I hate editing this because you don't know this, but like, in order to have all the cuts where I don't say anything or I do make weird noises or I repeat myself, like, there are some channels that are just leaving all of that, those moments where I don't know what to say and I just repeat myself. A lot of channels leave those moments in because they don't bother editing that. I do, because I hate leaving that in. So what happens is that I have to listen to myself talk for 2 hours, and I usually do it at like a 1.35 speed, which makes me sound like a chipmunk, and I just listen to myself talk for like an hour and a half. And I have to like stop and cut and be like, okay, moving on, stop, cut, moving on, stop, cut, moving on. And it's not good, but I'm gonna have to do it for this episode because, man, this is long. Okay, I talked for a long time. I said many things. I am hungry. It is 1 p.m. I'm gonna go make some food. So that's that's the BUFFYCAST. That's the BUFFYCAST episode 1. There's probably already like a podcast that talks about Buffy that is called the BUFFYCAST. That sounds very easy to do, but I'm gonna call this the BUFFYCAST for me, where I just look back on what happens in season 1 and 2. And I might do that later again for other seasons. I'll think about it. I'm not sure. But that's it for this episode of the BUFFYCAST. Watch this never come back again. I'm not gonna do this again. Okay, we'll see what happens. But yes, that's episodes. That's seasons 1 and 2. That's how I feel about them. I just started season 3 the other day, and I really, really like that first episode a lot, actually. I don't like just throwing out just randomly, this is my favorite episode of the show. I've done it a couple of times, but like episode 1 of season 3 is really good. And you also watched the movie, and I don't know when this video is gonna come out, but if it comes out like really soon after I recorded it, I'm not sure how to do that because I have like 3 videos to edit right now. But like, if you go to the Patreon, there's definitely the Buffy movie, and there's probably going to be the first episode of season 3 already over there. So if you want to watch my reactions to the movie, a masterpiece, or the first episode of season 3, you can already do so or at the Patreon. So check out the link in the description below. I'm going to throw a pop-up on screen or something here. So yeah, check out my Patreon, support the channel. Again, if I'm going to do Dropbox, I'm going to need financial support. So do that. I also got to eat. So there you go. All right. So that's going to be it for this video where I just talk about Buffy for like 2 hours. I'm just gonna go, man. I'm losing my voice and I'm hungry. See you guys next time. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.